My name is Justina Opoku, okay, and you're probably wondering who is Justina, right? So that's me, Justina. And before I begin, I'm actually going to set a timer. I'm actually going to cut it down from 8 minutes to 6 minutes because I know we started a little bit late. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So I'm going to set a timer and I'm going to see if I can finish this. I'm going to try and finish this in 6 minutes. Okay, so countdown begins now. Okay, so that's me. I'm an entrepreneur, and I go by the title entrepreneur because I am a writer, soon to be published author. I have a book coming out next month, actually. It's a fiction novel. I'm a child and youth advocate. I work with children and youth part time, and I also recently just came back from a volunteer mission trip in Dominica. I went to volunteer with the Children's Foundation to help out after Hurricane Maria. And as of the day I came back, which was on January 15th, they still did not have electricity 4 months later. So I was actually given the opportunity to go back and start an empowerment program. So I'm in the works of doing that, of just to, I guess, a program where they would meet once a week just to help lift the children's spirits and the youth spirits, especially after the hurricane. I also just recently became a travel agent, so if you need some travel booked, I'm your gal. And Shea Butter Diaries. So that's, I would call it my baby. It's a group, not a group, it's more of an initiative that I formed with a few other ladies. Our aim is to inspire and motivate. Check out the website, sheabutterdiaries.com. I'll speak on that just a little bit later. So that's me. That was me. Just frustrated with life, frustrated with just everything going on around me. I'm sure everyone has gone through a point in their life where they're just frustrated, where they felt like they weren't accomplishing what they came, or what they were here to do, what their purpose was. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on that. When I graduated high school, sometime in my high school career, I came up with the crazy idea of wanting to become a doctor. And I had an even crazier idea of telling my parents. So when it came to around grade 11, grade 12, I decided I didn't want to be a doctor anymore. That wasn't an option. They told me to do it. And even when I said I want to be a pediatrician, they said, no, Justina, you're going to be a family physician. So I enrolled in the program at York, and by my third year, I had filled out the program. So I had two options at that point. It was either to go back and do the classes that I failed over, and instead of graduating in 4 years, I would graduate in 5 years, or I could just switch over to another program that I had enough credits for and graduate in 4 years. Now, of course, my parents were paying for a chunk of my tuition. I wasn't about to tell them that I wasn't going to finish in 4 years. So they didn't find out that I graduated from psychology until my graduation day. And of course, they were none too pleased. I wouldn't recommend doing that. But yeah, so at that point, I had to figure out what I was going to do. And I enrolled back into another program and decided I was going to go into health studies. Again, graduated, and after that, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I did the program, and I kind of just did it to do it. And somewhere in there, I started a cake business with my sister. So money coming in was never an issue, so I didn't feel the need to work full time. I worked part time, ran the business, and that was enough for me at the time. But somewhere along there, I just wasn't happy. And I couldn't quite pinpoint what it was that wasn't making me happy, because money was coming in, I was traveling, Instagram followers were coming in, I'm going out, people are like, hey, you're the cake sisters, everywhere I go now, oh my God, like, it's like, hey, you make cakes, don't you? But I still, so on the outside, I was smiling, I was happy, but inside I wasn't, and I couldn't quite pinpoint what it was. So, it came down to what I was seeing around me. So it's like you go on Instagram and, I'm pretty sure, how many of you have seen some of these hashtags, every day? It's like, so someone's in a relationship, someone got a new car, they got keys to a place, they got their dream job, or they got some new designer that they're flashing. I know Jessica made a reference this the other day that, someone says they're going grocery shopping, but they have like a Louis bag in their hand. It's like, if you're gonna go pick up apples, why do you need to carry that with you, right? But yeah, so I guess a lot of it was I was just focusing on what was going on around me. And I was comparing my life to those of those around me, that everyone's, they're doing these things, they're moving, their life is going, they're, getting a new car, they're getting this, they're getting that. And funny enough, I came across, just like I felt like a failure. That's what it was. Because I was just like, I wasn't moving as quickly as those around me. And, I had set this timeline of by the time I was 25, I wanted to have a house, a car, kids, a husband, all that stuff. And when I got into 25, I hadn't achieved some of that. I'll say some. I hadn't achieved some of that. And, with added pressures from family, asking, when you're going to get married, when you're going to have kids, it just, when you're going to move out, it was a lot. So I actually found this morning, and it was just basically don't compare yourself to a stranger on Instagram. So even though the person can be your friend, you don't know what they're feeling inside. Inside, they could be a stranger. And it wasn't until basically I came across that is when I was just like, you know what? I need to take control of my life, and I need to be happy, and I need to figure out what I'm going to do to make me happy. And it doesn't matter what's going on around me. So at that point, it was sometime last year, something drastic had happened, and I decided that, I was going to take control, and I was going to go back and do what makes me happy, not what makes my parents happy or anyone. So I decided to turn over the business to my sister, the cake business to my sister, and I applied and enrolled back in school. So I also decided, because I wasn't doing the cakes anymore last summer, I was able to go out in the summer and have fun, something I hadn't done since I was a child. And, oh, there's a timer. So, yeah, so at this point, I can stop here. I can stop right now, but I haven't delivered my full message yet. So it's either I stop and I leave it here and leave you guys hanging, or I continue. Okay. Okay, so basically, the reason why I set the timer, it was an arbitrary time, I just picked something, was just to show you that even though you set a timeline in yourself, it doesn't mean that because it's come to that time, you need to stop. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, it doesn't mean you stop, right? It's like I set a time, but I didn't achieve it in the time that I set. Doesn't mean I stop. No, I keep going. You know what? Someone might have set themselves a time. They might have reached that time in order to speak, but I didn't. So I'm going to keep going. But, yeah, so basically in the summer, me and a bunch of ladies, we went to watch Girls Trip. Decided we want to go on a girls trip. And while on the trip, as girls, we started talking mainly about boys. And we decided that, you know what, we should write a book. And we said, before we do the book, let's come up with a blog. And that's how Shea Butter Diaries was born. And basically, as we were talking, it wasn't only about boys. A lot of it was just things that we were dealing with internally. And it's funny because I'm the one that put together the trip. So I knew all of the girls, but none of the girls knew each other. And it was just in that span of that weekend being in New York, everyone was kind of sharing things that they were going through. And one of the major things was that nobody felt like they had someone they can go to kind of, they were just scared to talk about certain things. They think that they would be judged. So I said, just being here and speaking with each other, we're all realizing that we have certain things in common. So we started writing the blogs, getting a lot of great feedback. A lot of it is just that people are kind of afraid to come out and share what they're going through, but once they know that someone else is going through the same thing, they take comfort in that. So I encourage you to read some of the blogs, a lot of interesting things on there. You never know who you could, relate to, one of us ladies. And yeah, and then, from that, it's just to let you know that you are important. Like, you are your own person. So don't watch what the person beside you is doing. Who cares? Doesn't matter. You're here. You follow your own destiny. You do what you need to do. Don't worry about anybody else. And I feel like once you take that and live by it, you'll be much happier. Because I can actually stand up here and genuinely say that from since last year, since I took my life into my control and started doing things for myself, I've been a lot happier. And I can stand before you today and tell you the story. And yeah, so go for it. Check out the blog. Buy my book when it comes out. And yeah, basically, I just want to let you guys know, like, don't set time limits on yourself. Don't set the timelines, because you'll drive yourself crazy. Trust me. All right. Thanks for listening.